Yeah, how's it going, guys? It's Richie here, the Chronicle here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Hopefully, you guys can hear me a little bit. It is late at night, and I don't even have my face cam on. But I wanted to talk about the new Aquila content Chronicle update because obviously there's been a lot of controversy beyond it, and I just got done with group Ruku, Mason, Banana, and Reed. Shout out to all of them. We had a great time doing challenge mode. We did I'm just gonna say syphilis. I know his name is Sisyphus, but for some reason in my brain I keep saying syphilis. I don't know why. But we did a little bit of that. It was pretty fun. It was a pretty fun boss fight. I actually like the mechanic of it being like more of a endurance and not like a sprint, as he says. Obviously, the drop rates could be way better for him, I think, but it is what it is. It's KI. What can you do? But that's actually what we're here to talk about is the update and primarily the drop rates because that's where I've been seeing a lot of complaints rise. And honestly, I really don't care much about the drop rate. I think going into this, I never really cared much about the spellments. I mean, I really don't care for spellments ever since they were first released. I honestly think they're kind of like a time waster, like kind of like a time shredder. But it is what it is. And obviously, beyond that, they also put in a pack, and that pack also have spellments. But I think the main thing I don't like about the pack is that it has the Gorgon set, which is the same thing that you can craft here. However, the visual difference is very visually different. And I kind of wish there was a way to craft the gear maybe through the crafting vendor and have that same design. I wish it wasn't exclusive to the pack. But like I said, it is what it is, and it is KI. And of course, people are probably gonna do a bunch of pack openings and like, look at this hat. Like, isn't that such a cool hat? Like, I would love to craft that, but it's only available in the pack, which I understand. It's a new pack. You can actually get a free pack if you want, if you type in the code Gorgon. But I don't know. I just would love that opportunity to craft it. But it is what it is, like I said. And of course, you can get spellments from this pack as well. This is kind of like a spellment pack. So you can get the gear, you can get the new pets, you can get a whole bunch of stuff. And apparently, also the new boss Sisyphus also drops pets. However, I haven't gotten lucky with it. I've seen everybody's been farming it. I saw Draco was my friend Draco. He was farming it with like 4 accounts, which is absolutely insane. So a lot of people are heavy at work when it comes to the farming. But honestly, I'm here to be devil's advocate and say that honestly, I think the drops are not so bad. I know everybody's gonna type in the comments, but hear me out. Try the other dungeons out in challenge mode, and you might get a little bit something a little bit more satisfying. I feel like what's happening is that a lot of people just went to this new boss, and that's the only thing they're gonna farm. When in reality, that boss is only gonna drop like 1 to 3 spell mints or 3 moon dust and whatever it's called, Olympian dust. Like, you can farm Sisyphus as much as you want, but for me, I'm in it for the challenge mode gear set, which is the same thing I did with the whole Selenopolis challenge mode gear set, and just grind it out. And this time, it's actually not that bad. I'm not gonna lie. The badges are pretty fun and creative, and they're really not that bad. Defeat Sisyphus in challenge mode, and then you have to defeat him 15 times, which is super easy. Actually, challenge mode Sisyphus is actually way easier than I think standard mode. I think standard mode is a little weird in a sense. I would definitely recommend challenge mode if you're having trouble in standard mode, but defeat him 15 times and yeah, do all that. Was it 15 times? Yeah, 15 times. Gladiator in challenge mode, you do him about 10 times or 5 times? Yeah, 10 times right there. And then where else? Actually, wait. Defeat Gladiator Dominicus 5 times. No, that's not the one. Over here, defeat Gladiator Dominicus in challenge mode 10 times. That's a 10-time completion badge. And then we got defeat Poseidon in challenge mode, which we just got done. And then you can also do the secret boss, which is the squid, and you only have to do that 5 times. And then for Poseidon, you only have to do that dungeon 5 times as well, which I was honestly shocked it was only that. It was a pretty long dungeon. I mean, it wasn't too long, but it was pretty lengthy. But the rewards, as I get back on track, were really good. I'll show you some. So this is from Mount Olympus Challenge Mode. Big loot explosion right there. We get all kind of stuff ranging from, you know, the spellments, some gear, which, again, I don't really care much for the gear. I mean, this is like level 30 stuff, so, I mean, if you really need it, it's there, but I really didn't care much for it. Over here, we got the Gladiator Rematcher badge we got, and this is from Gladiator in Challenge Mode, which, again, I didn't really care much for the drops. It only drops, like, what, 2 Spellments and a deck. I mean, sometimes I didn't even get a deck. Sometimes I would just get Spellments or gold. So, yeah, again, the drop rates could be way, way better. But, again, like I said, it is what it is. This is another Gladiator drop right here. This was when we were in Poseidon, and we did the secret boss right here. Again, all we got Spellmint, Amber, which I don't really care much for Amber. We got a little amulet right there, level 70. So, yeah. Let me show you, though. I don't think I have a picture of the Poseidon drops, but those were also pretty explosive as well. I have to say the Poseidon drops so far have been one of the most explosives. Now, I know it sounds like I'm praising the update a lot, but they seriously do need to work. And I think what's throwing me off the most about this entire update is that it's not glitchy. I haven't really noticed many bugs or glitches lately, and it just seems like every update we have for Wizard101, a lot of things just seem like it's getting worse and worse. You know what I'm saying? Like it just keeps getting progressively worse, and I'm just surprised about that it's been running smoothly, at least for me that is. But again, there's always room for improvements. Can the drops be increased? Yes, especially for Sisyphus, which I believe that a lot of people, especially casual players, are definitely going to be grinding for. I think what they're trying to do is encourage more people to do challenge mode, and they did a good job with it with Aquila. I like how they, went back to older content, which is nice. Added some new, which is nice. I think it's a nice little introductory to challenge mode. Now, if you do want to check out your level scaling, you can check out Legate Valeris, or however you pronounce that. He'll be right over here, and you can basically customize whatever your scaling is, and kind of figure that out. But I think they did a good job with it, kind of introducing everybody. But going back to the whole drop situation, it definitely can be better, right? And one of my main negatives is the defeat quest and the badge lock stuff, the craft stuff. I really, really wish they would stop doing this. In order to craft stuff, you have to defeat Hades and Tartarus 20 times. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I played the game forever in a lifetime, and all of a sudden you add an update where you're finally tracking how many defeats you've had for a certain boss. Now all that stuff from all those years ago don't really matter, and that's one of my biggest gripes about some of these updates, is that I wish something like this would have just came out earlier, or they would have made a badge back in the day for doing that. But obviously now that it's now tracking, you have to redo that all over again. And that's just for crafting the gear. You really don't have to get the badges. These are just completely optional. It's just side content for any PvE player out there. The wands, however, have been the talk of the town, and I'm sure you guys have already heard about the wands. The level 170 wands are pretty insane. They come with a triangle socket and a few other interesting stats as well. So I think a lot of people are definitely going to get their hands on the wands. I don't know if those are, I would imagine those would be good maybe in PvP and maybe raids, or just regular traditional PvE experiences. Again, the decks are also pretty decent, at least from what people told me. I just really hate the item cards, like Blade and Trap Delusion. I really do hate that. But one thing I don't agree on is the whole, like, badge completion thing. I just don't like badge locked stuff, primarily in order to craft stuff. I mean, it just gets to a point where it gets kind of annoying. But like I said, it's all optional. And that pretty much at least wraps it up for my tangent about the update. I'm not really in a position where I extremely hate the update because obviously I'm doing anything else besides Sisyphus because I thought Sisyphus was fun but also kind of boring at some point. Like I'm not gonna farm it 50 times for some exclusive pet. Like yeah, I'm good with that. But also just kind of the fact how I don't know, it's just nice to play with friends and stuff. You know, it's just really nice to just hang out with people and grind for the same thing. I mean, at this point, we'll be done the whole challenge mode gear set stuff in no time, which is quite nice. But I know a lot of people don't really care much about the challenge mode gear set. I know a lot of people don't care about challenge mode in general. So honestly, when it comes to this update, I think it's just gonna have to depend on people what they want to do, especially concerning the spell mints. I can show you how many spell mints I have, and I've shown you all the badges, but I really don't have that many spell mints, at least for the life one. I only have 19 out of 35. And I don't really have a problem with not maxing this out because I just kind of want this for the utility, especially for life. It basically detonates 3 damage overtimes for 130%, which is quite nice. So I just want it for the conditional. I don't really care much for maxing it out. Like, oh, if you max it out, you get a little bit more damage. Like, I could really care less about that. I just want to unlock the spell in general. And hopefully it doesn't glitch out like this whole Scion Spellman situation. Hopefully it's working as intended. I think the problem is a lot of people have that assumption that they are going to max these out, in which case I think it's almost universally impossible to try to max some of these spellments out. I mean, I'm sure there's probably already people out there that probably already have it maxed out, but like I said, you have the option of either farming it forever or you can buy the pack, which I recommend just farming it and especially trying out some of the other dungeons in challenge mode just to see if you can get your hands on some other loot in the process, because I think a lot of people just immediately are just going to farm Sisyphus, and I think that's where we're going to see a lot of people drop off for this content update. The challenge mode isn't even hard for some of the dungeons, basically just blade stacking, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we've been having a good time. I'll probably farm the rest of it tomorrow with the squad. And we'll probably finish Tartarus tomorrow, hopefully. And then maybe do, not Tartarus, I mean Atlantia. And then maybe we'll do a little bit of Tartarus tomorrow, depending on how much time everybody has. But yeah, this was a fun day for Wizard101 for me. I just had fun, just been vibing. Like I said, I really don't care for spellments. And I don't care about the gear drops, the spellment drops. I mean, they can make it as piss poor as they want. It's KI at the end of the day. They're never going to increase the drop rates because obviously they want people to buy the packs, as per usual. In which case will happen, in which will equal profits. And then everybody lives a happy life. And then they'll drop a crown sale, and then everybody will buy crowns and then spend those crowns on the pack. Blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, that's my main gripe about it. Don't like the badge locks, don't like the pack, or don't like the exclusiveness of the pack. But all in all, I think it's a pretty chill update. Until then, I will see you guys later, and yeah, peace out.